She snapped, "Why do you always need to know where I am?" I replied calmly, "You're right. I was being too controlling." I stopped asking, stopped checking, and gave her the space she wanted. A few days later, she panicked when she realized I had spent the entire weekend in Miami. I'm 31, and until about a month ago, I thought I had my relationship figured out. My girlfriend Vanessa and I had been together for 3 years. We met at a mutual friend's wedding, hit it off immediately, and within 6 months we were talking about our future together. She was 29, worked in pharmaceutical sales, traveled frequently for conferences and client meetings. I respected her independence and her drive. It was one of the things that attracted me to her in the first place. The issues started subtly about 4 months ago. Vanessa became increasingly defensive whenever I asked about her day or her travel schedule. What used to be normal couple conversation, "How was your trip?" or "What time will you be home?" suddenly became interrogations in her mind. It came to a head 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday evening. She'd been in Boston for a conference and came home a day later than planned. I asked her how it went, if everything was okay with the delayed flight. "Why do you always need to know where I am?" she snapped, dropping her suitcase by the door with more force than necessary. I was taken aback. "I was just asking about your trip." "I wasn't." "You're always checking up on me. Always asking questions. It's suffocating." "Vanessa, I'm just trying to show interest in your life." "That's what partners do." "No, you're being controlling. You want to track my every move." I sat down on the couch, genuinely confused. "When have I ever tried to control you? I've never stopped you from doing anything. I've never asked you to change your schedule or questioned your decisions. You ask where I am constantly. Because I care about you. Because I like knowing you got somewhere safely. That's not control, that's concern." She rolled her eyes. "Well, I need space. I need you to back off and stop hovering." I took a breath, feeling something shift inside me. "You're right," I said calmly. "I was being too controlling. I'll give you the space you need." She looked almost surprised by my response, like she'd expected an argument. "Good. Thank you." That night, I made a decision. I would stop asking, stop checking, stop being the one who reached out first. I wanted to see what would happen when I gave her exactly what she claimed to want. The next morning, I didn't text her good morning like I usually did. When she left for work, I didn't ask about her meetings. That evening, she came home to find me reading a book on the couch. "How was your day?" she asked, setting down her purse. "Good," I said, not looking up. "Yours?" "Fine." "Busy." Silence. She waited for me to ask follow-up questions. I didn't. After a moment, she went to the bedroom. I heard her on the phone with someone, her voice hushed. I didn't ask who it was. This pattern continued for the next few days. Vanessa would come and go, and I'd barely acknowledge it beyond a polite greeting. I stopped asking about her schedule, stopped wondering where she was going when she left the apartment at odd hours. I gave her exactly what she wanted, complete freedom from my controlling behavior. By Friday, she seemed almost frustrated by my lack of interest. "Are you mad at me?" she asked that evening. "No. Why would I be mad? You've been distant all week. I'm giving you space, like you asked. I didn't mean you should completely ignore me. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just not asking you questions about your whereabouts. Isn't that what you wanted?" She didn't have a good response to that. That weekend, I had plans of my own, plans I'd been quietly arranging since Tuesday. On Friday afternoon, I packed a small bag and booked an Uber to the airport. I didn't tell Vanessa I was leaving. I didn't leave a note. I just went. Update 1, I landed in Miami Friday night around 11. My college buddy Marcus lived there, and when I'd called him earlier in the week to ask if I could crash at his place for the weekend, he'd immediately said yes. Marcus knew about my relationship struggles. I'd vented to him a few times over the past months about Vanessa's increasingly distant behavior. "So, you're really doing this?" Marcus asked, as he drove me from the airport to his condo in Brickell. "Doing what?" "Taking a weekend trip to visit a friend." "You know what I mean. The silent treatment thing." "It's not silent treatment. She wanted space. She wanted me to stop asking questions. So I stopped." "And you didn't tell her you were leaving town?" "Why would I?" "She doesn't tell me her plans anymore. She made it clear she doesn't want me keeping tabs on her." Marcus laughed. "Man, she's going to lose it when she realizes." He was right, but I didn't care. For the first time in months, I felt free. No anxiety about where Vanessa was or who she was with. No walking on eggshells trying not to seem controlling. Just a weekend with an old friend in a city I'd never properly explored. Saturday morning, Marcus and I went for a run along South Beach, grabbed Cuban coffee, spent the afternoon at a rooftop pool at one of the hotels. I posted a photo to my Instagram story, just the Miami skyline, nothing obvious, but anyone paying attention would know I wasn't in our city. My phone buzzed around 4 p.m. Vanessa calling. I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 4:30, then 5. Then she started texting. "Where are you? Jake, answer your phone. This isn't funny. Where are you? I stopped by the apartment and you're not here. Your car is here, but you're gone. Are you seriously ignoring me right now?" I didn't respond to any of them. Marcus and I went to dinner at this incredible seafood place in Wynwood, then hit a few bars. I posted another story, this time a photo of my mojito with the Miami skyline in the background, very clear where I was. My phone exploded. Vanessa called 6 more times between 8 and midnight. The texts became increasingly frantic. "I saw your Instagram. Are you in Miami? Why didn't you tell me you were leaving? This is so immature. We need to talk. Call me back. Jake, seriously, this isn't okay. You can't just disappear without telling me." Around 1 a.m., after Marcus and I got back to his place, I finally responded with a simple text. "I'm giving you space. Thought you'd appreciate not having to tell me where you are or what you're doing. Enjoying the freedom." She called immediately. I declined it. She texted, "That's not what I meant and you know it." I replied, "You said I was too controlling. Said you needed space? I'm giving it to you. Enjoy your weekend." Then I muted our conversation thread and went to sleep. Update 2 Sunday morning, I woke up to 43 text messages and 12 missed calls from Vanessa. I scrolled through them while drinking coffee on Marcus's balcony. They ranged from angry to pleading to confused. "You're being childish. I didn't mean you should just leave without saying anything. What if something happened to you? How would I know? This is exactly the kind of manipulative behavior I can't deal with. Please just call me. We need to talk about this." That last one made me laugh. Now she wanted to talk. Now communication was important. Marcus came out onto the balcony with his own coffee. "She's still blowing up your phone?" "Yep. You going to respond?" "Eventually. When I feel like it." We spent Sunday exploring Little Havana, ate at some incredible restaurants, caught a jazz show in the evening. It was one of the best weekends I'd had in months. No stress, no anxiety, no wondering if my girlfriend was actually where she said she was or with who she said she was with. I didn't post anything else to social media that day. Let Vanessa wonder. My flight back was Monday afternoon. I landed around 6 p.m., took an Uber home. When I walked into our apartment, Vanessa was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, looking like she'd been waiting for hours. "Where the hell have you been?" she demanded the second I walked in. I set down my bag calmly. "Miami. Visited Marcus for the weekend." "And you didn't think to tell me?" "Why would I? You said I was being too controlling by asking about your whereabouts. Figured you'd appreciate the same courtesy." "That's not the same thing." "Isn't it?" You go on business trips without giving me detailed itineraries. You come and go without explanation. I'm just following your lead. I have work trips. This was just, what, a vacation? Visiting a friend. Needed some space to think. Space to think about what? I looked at her directly. About whether this relationship is actually working. She stood up. Are you serious right now? You disappear for an entire weekend, ignore all my calls and texts, and now you're questioning our relationship? Vanessa, you've been pulling away for months, getting defensive about basic questions, accusing me of being controlling for showing normal interest in your life. I backed off like you asked, and suddenly that's also wrong. So yeah, I'm questioning whether we want the same things anymore. I never asked you to disappear without a word. You asked for space. You asked me to stop checking up on you. I gave you exactly what you wanted. She opened her mouth, closed it, then said, "This is manipulative." How? How is giving you what you explicitly asked for manipulative? Because you're trying to teach me a lesson or something. No, I'm protecting myself. You made it clear my concern for you was unwelcome. So I stopped giving it. And you know what? It felt good. I felt free for the first time in months. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. So what are you saying? You want to break up? I'm saying I need honesty. Real honesty. Why have you been so defensive lately? Why does every question feel like an accusation to you? She looked away. I haven't been defensive. Vanessa. Silence stretched between us. Then, quietly, she said, "There's someone at work." My stomach dropped. What? His name is Derek. He's in sales too. We've been talking a lot, getting close. Nothing physical has happened, but you wanted it to. She didn't deny it, just stood there crying. How long? I asked. A few months. It started as just work friendship, but then it became more. I didn't know how to handle it. I felt guilty, so I pushed you away, made you the bad guy for caring so I could justify what I was feeling. I sat down heavily on the couch. Everything made sense now. The defensiveness, the accusations of control, the need for space. She'd been emotionally cheating and projecting her guilt onto me. Is he the one you've been texting late at night? I asked. She nodded. The business trips that ran long? Another nod. The Boston conference where you stayed an extra day? He was there too, she whispered. I laughed bitterly. So while you were accusing me of being controlling, you were actually having an emotional affair. That's incredible. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen. But it did happen. You made choices. You pursued this. You lied to me. And worst of all, you tried to make me feel like I was the problem. Update 3. We talked for another 2 hours that night. Vanessa admitted that she and Derek had gotten close around the same time she started becoming defensive with me. She swore nothing physical had happened, but admitted they'd talked about what it might be like to be together, that they'd had conversations that crossed emotional boundaries. Do you love him? I asked. I don't know. I'm confused. That's not the answer someone in a committed relationship should have. She didn't argue with that. By midnight, we'd agreed that we needed space, real space, not the performative kind she'd accused me of violating. Vanessa packed a bag and went to stay with her sister. We'd take a week to think about whether this relationship was salvageable. I spent that week doing a lot of reflection, talking to friends, going to the gym, trying to figure out if I even wanted to fix things with someone who'd been so willing to betray my trust and gaslight me about my reasonable concerns. Marcus called me Wednesday night. How you holding up? Been better. Been worse. You know what you're going to do? I think so. She broke my trust. Not just with the emotional affair, but with the lying and the projection. I don't think I can come back from that. Good. You deserve better than someone who makes you feel crazy for having normal relationship expectations. He was right. I did deserve better. When Vanessa and I met up the following Monday to talk, I'd already made my decision. We met at a neutral coffee shop, both of us looking tired. "I've been thinking a lot," she started. "About us. About what I want. Me too. I think I need to be honest with myself. I have feelings for Derek. I don't know if it would work out with him, but I can't keep lying to you or myself about it." "So you want to break up?" She nodded, looking relieved that I'd said it. "I'm sorry. You're a good person. You deserve someone who's all in." "You're right. I do." We split everything down the middle: lease, furniture, the small amount of money we'd saved together for a potential down payment on a house. It was surprisingly civil. Maybe because we both knew it was over long before that conversation. Final update. That was 3 months ago. Vanessa moved out by the end of that week. Last I heard through mutual friends, she and Derek dated for about 6 weeks before it imploded. Turns out the excitement of sneaking around was most of the appeal. Once it was out in the open, they realized they didn't actually have much in common. I heard she tried to reach out to apologize more formally, maybe see if we could try again, but I'd already blocked her number by then. I wasn't interested in being someone's backup plan. As for me, I'm doing well. Really well, actually. I got a promotion at work last month. Started dating someone new. Leah. She's 30, works as a physical therapist. We met at a friend's barbecue. She's straightforward, communicative, and when I ask about her day, she doesn't accuse me of being controlling. It's refreshing. Marcus still gives me grief about the Miami weekend. Says it was the most petty thing I've ever done. He's probably right. But it also gave me clarity. When I stopped chasing, stopped trying to hold together something that was already falling apart, Vanessa panicked. Not because she missed me, but because she lost control of the narrative. She wanted the freedom to explore feelings for someone else while keeping me as her stable backup. The second I stopped playing that role, stopped being the understanding boyfriend who accepted her gaslighting, the whole arrangement fell apart. Looking back, I should have seen the signs earlier: the defensiveness, the projection, the way she made my concern into my flaw. But sometimes you need distance to see clearly. The Miami trip wasn't about revenge or teaching her a lesson. It was about reclaiming my own sense of self-worth, about remembering that I deserve someone who doesn't make me feel guilty for caring, someone who doesn't lie and call it independence, someone who doesn't cheat and call it space. I don't regret the 3 years with Vanessa. I learned a lot about what I need in a relationship. But I also learned that sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away from someone who's already checked out. The apartment feels different now without her things. Lighter somehow. I redecorated, got some new furniture, made it mine. Friends come over more. I cook meals I actually want to eat instead of compromising on everything. I make plans without wondering if I'm being too needy by wanting to spend time with my partner. Last week, I was scrolling through old photos and found pictures from that Miami weekend. Me and Marcus at South Beach, the mojito at sunset, the jazz club. I looked happy in those photos. Free. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. Not just in leaving Vanessa, but in refusing to let her make me doubt myself. In refusing to accept a relationship where care was called control and honesty was optional. I'm not bitter anymore. Just glad I didn't waste more time on someone who wasn't worth it. And grateful for that weekend in Miami that reminded me what freedom feels like.